If you're looking at photographs to help you draw your furniture, you need to make sure you're in 1-point perspective. If you're facing the back wall and the back wall makes a square like in this picture, then you're good. In this picture though, we're facing a corner of the room. This is not what you need. It's going to confuse you because this is not 1-point perspective. All right, again, we're facing the back wall. The back wall makes a square. So this would work great to look at as a reference to draw your furniture. And again, this is not what you're looking for because we're facing a corner. So this is actually 2 points, going to throw you off. Say I find an image that's going to work, like of this couch. I'm going to identify the part I'm going to start with. So it's the part that's facing me, that's closest to me, that has only horizontals and verticals, often a square, and then I can take all the corners of that square to the vanishing point. To show you an example with another piece of furniture, again, identify that part that's facing you with only horizontals and verticals and take the corners to the vanishing point. In this drawing, if you look at the bed on the right, you'll notice a weird phenomenon. It's actually floating. It's not touching the ground. And if you look at the dresser on the left, it's not sitting on the ground either. It's actually going into the left wall. You want to make sure that you don't do this. You want to make sure that your furniture is grounded on the floor. Far away from our back wall so that we have plenty of room for our couch. We're going to make a line coming down the wall and we're going to stop right at that diagonal. Then we're going to make a horizontal that meets that on the floor. So the back line, our object is touching the wall, and that bottom line, our object is touching the floor. I'm actually going to scoot the couch a little bit away from the wall, so there's a little gap there. So I'm just going to bring that vertical line to the left a little bit and keep the one on the bottom the same. So I know it's sitting on the floor and I've got a little gap between the couch and the wall. Again, we're going to start with this part right here that's facing us, just as you saw in the illustration before. What I like to do is I like to sketch it really lightly first. And then I go in with my ruler once I have the size I want it and the shape I want it and the place I want it. Then I can go in with my ruler and fix up those. Since you learned how to draw a cube, we're going to keep this couch really boxy just to start, and we'll round it out later. I'm going to go ahead with my ruler now and put in these lines nice and clean and straight. Again, don't draw too dark so that you can erase if you need to. And just like when you were drawing your cube, now you have your front face done. I'm going to erase this back wall so it doesn't confuse us. Now you can take all your corners to the vanishing point, just like you did with your cube. Don't forget this inside corner here. That's a little different, but you're going to take that to the vanishing point as well. And these two up here. All right, whatever shape your front face is up here, that's the same exact shape you're gonna do to end your couch. And it's the same way as when you were drawing your cube. You get to choose where to cut it off, but you do have to be careful. For example, if I choose to cut it off back here, and I erase those spider lines so you can see what's going on. Let's darken these lines up for you a little bit. If I choose to end my couch back here, what's the problem? Look at that, it's floating. The back of the couch is not touching the floor. So the furthest back I could end my couch is right here. And that would be if my couch was pushed all the way up against that back wall. It's kind of long for a couch that's this height, so I'm gonna end it right about here. So I can erase those old attempts. Again, it's just the same shape in the back that it is in the front, and it's gonna line up with those lines that you took to the vanishing point. I'm going to erase some of the back wall here again so it doesn't confuse me, because the couch is going to be covering that up. And then I take my ruler, as always, making sure that everything is parallel. and I put in these lines nice and clean. So that's the back of my couch. That's where it ends. The next thing I'm going to do is create armrests. I'm going to line up my ruler a little ways from that horizontal line and make another one. And I'm going to do the same thing vertically. I'm giving it a little bit of a thickness that you could actually rest your arms on here. And always remember, whatever you do to the front, you've got to do to the back as well. But in the back, it's not going to be as thick as in the front because things get smaller as they get away from us, right? So make sure you're doing it a little bit thinner than you're doing it in the front. So again, just another horizontal, another vertical. And now we have our armrests. I'm going to erase this little line in between because we don't need it anymore. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a line to the vanishing point. This is kind of the base of the couch. I'm going to draw it just between the armrests. This is the part that the cushions sit on, if you will. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the cushions. I'm going to make sure the cushions are lower than the armrests, right? Because where your bum is sitting should be lower than where your armrests are. And again, just another diagonal. So those are my cushions. Okay, my cushion's gonna end right here where it hits the armrest. So I'm gonna sketch in this little horizontal because that's gonna help me later. Now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna create the back of the couch. We're gonna start with this part right here because that's the part that's facing us. All right, it does have some diagonals, but we're still gonna draw it with a nice parallel horizontal on top. Even though this is slanted, that's still the part that's facing us. And just as always, we're gonna take those corners up top to the vanishing point. All right, looking at the back of the couch, if we look right here in that corner of the armrest, that's where the back end of the back of the couch is. So we're gonna sketch that in the back. Okay, then we got a horizontal. We're gonna repeat that. And then we've got the front that mimics the back, okay? So we just drew through the couch as if it were see-through glass, which would be cool, but ours is not. So we can go ahead and erase that little part, but that was just helping us figure out where to end the back of the couch. Then as always, I take my ruler to clean it up, and we can go ahead and put this cushion in nice and neat. And that's gonna meet up right there on that little corner. You're actually gonna line up that corner with the vanishing point and draw a nice line there. That's the line separating the back of your couch with the cushions of the seat of the couch. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add individual cushions on our couch. Remember, the cushions in the back are gonna look smaller and they're gonna progressively look like they get bigger as they come towards us because things get smaller as they go back. Again, I just sketch them in a nice horizontal and then a nice little vertical. And then once they're sketched in, I can go in with my ruler and clean them up, making sure they're parallel. Whoa, look how far off my sketch was. And that's why I use a ruler. All right, now we're gonna separate the back of the couch into 3 separate sections as well, making sure that the lines we're putting in are parallel to that front edge of the couch right there. And we're lining them up with the lines that are horizontal on the cushions. Voila. And then we'll put these horizontals in here too. And once you're finished with that, you have the boxy version of your couch, and you can go ahead and go in and round out the edges. I think this is one of the most fun parts of drawing the couch. You're actually making the cushions look cushiony. So you're still going off those lines that are correct in perspective, but you can round them out a little bit, make the cushions look like they're actually comfortable to sit on, give the couch some slight imperfections and some curve. Add some nice armrests to the couch. The details are really what's gonna make your furniture and your room look realistic and relatable to people. And the last thing you're going to want to do, as always, is you're going to want to add that line variation. So the parts of the couch that are closest to us will be really thick, dark lines, and they'll slowly get thinner and lighter as the lines get further away from us. Not only are people going to be able to see your picture from far away better, but it's also really going to create that illusion of depth. I'm going to show you one last thing that's super helpful. You see these little lines that I made on this front armrest? Sometimes you'll have details like this and you'll be like, wait, but where do I put those on the back? You just line that detail up with the vanishing point, and wherever that ruler is, you know where that same thing is on the back of your couch or whatever object you're drawing. And there's your couch in 1-point perspective.